You can pre-order Rise of the Dreadmoon today, but what's actually in the box? On June 15th, pre-orders went live and Xavi has some pictures for us. But first, I'm looking at Hasbro Pulse because they have some descriptions which will contextualize some of the miniatures. The dramatic story of treachery and unrest in the Elven Kingdom continues in this HeroQuest Rise of the Dreadmoon expansion. As a brave knight, you're challenged to finally free Elethorn from the clutches of Zargon. Embark on dangerous quests, as you seek the aid of the Cadre of the Raven's Veil to help stop Zargon's forces of dread from destroying the kingdom. Navigate through a dark labyrinth of waterways, an underground city, and more perilous locations. But be wary, for Zargon's forces grow ever stronger with the Rise of the Dreadmoon. Includes quest book featuring 10 quests, 29 finely detailed miniatures, including furniture, elven warriors, dread cultists, specters, a dread wraith, 2 mirror stands, 58 game cards, cardboard tile sheet, and game guide. The Rise of the Dreadmoon expansion features 10 quests, as well as full-color tiles and 58 game cards, set in an elven world of monsters, traps, treasure, and Dreadmoon spells. I did not realize that there were 58 game cards in this. That seems like a lot. And now we can check out the Xavi listing. The first 2 images we've seen before, it's just the box art basically. But the third image is something new. It's the back of the box. So there will be more reading, but trust me, it's worth it. The chilling night of the Dreadmoon is approaching. Cold, metallic moonlight casts an eerie glow over Elethorn in this HeroQuest expansion that continues the dramatic story of treachery and civil unrest within the Elven Kingdom. At a time when Elethorn should be enjoying peace following the safe return of Princess Melandriel, Zargon's fiendish agents run amok, led by the traitorous Sir Ragnar. Playing as one of HeroQuest's brave heroes, you must seek the aid of the Cadre of the Raven's Veil and finally free Elethorn from Zargon's vile clutches. And be wary, heroes, for Zargon's forces grow ever stronger with the Rise of the Dreadmoon. You can see some of the game components on the back, but there's pictures that focus on a couple of the elements at a time. This first one is of all the miniatures. First thing is the Guardian Knight as we saw before, nothing new there. Here's the Cadre of the Raven's Veil, which you can see clearly that this one right here has 2 double axes, which I incorrectly thought were crossbows last time. We have ourselves 2 elven archers, 2 elven swordsmen. I know from the back of the box that there's 2 elves here with the dagger and looks like a flail of sorts. There's also 2 of these elven knights. I can't tell whether they're going to be dread knights exactly, or whether they're just going to be armored elves. Either way, they're strong people in suits of armor. Next, we have the dread cultists here. These guys are interesting because they're very similar in appearance to the original game's Chaos Sorcerer. And yes, while we did get a new version of the Chaos Sorcerer, I just love how they've gone back to the old look there, with the arms raised like he's trying to raise an undead army. My theory is that it's going to be those guys who summon the specters onto the board. And right beside the specters, there's the Dread Wraith, which my guess is that it's that big cloud with the elven sorceress's face in it. There is a shot elsewhere where we can kind of see the front of it, but because it's clear plastic, it's kind of hard to make out the details exactly. This iron door looks like the one that was already available in the Mage in the Mirror, and this reinforced door is just a nice elven door. There's a new style of table. This sorcerer's table has a crystal ball on it, and looks like a skull with goat horns on it. There's a nice looking elven cabinet there. This tomb is something that's interesting to me as well. It looks like it might be leaking roots or something from it, or magic itself, but it looks like there's also a clear element inside of it for whatever reason. It might make that hard to paint, but it might actually look very cool just like that, and you could just give it a dry brush on the outside of it. Or you could even mask that part off if you want to spray prime it and then paint it. And on the very right there's interestingly 2 statues as well. With these being here, I have a couple thoughts. They could either A, spring to life, or B, work similar to the game Heroes of Hammerwatch, where they're the thing that helps summon ghosts, or C, just be courtyard decoration, which the second image shows. Now, with these tiles here, it looks to me like it's an outside courtyard of some type, but these lines are either meant to represent small stone separations, or this could be a zoomed out view, and we use possibly some of these tokens to represent a big group of units. I'm guessing it's just the first thing because there's no way that those are meant to represent paths. But in this image, we can also see a few more things. We can see first of all there's a mirror here, which has some interesting spell effects on it. I don't know if anything happens to the mirror in Mage in the Mirror itself, or whether this is the mirror being affected by the Dread Moon. Then there's some Caltrops tokens. I know what these are called because there's an image of a card a little bit later. There's tokens for masks, which you might see at a kind of ball. Flipping to another image here, we get a more clear shot of the tokens. The caltrops, the masks, looks like tokens for the symbol of Elithorn versus tokens of the Dread Moon. These two opposing tokens here might represent the struggle between who's going to win in the end. Is the Dread Moon winning? Or are the heroes and Elithorn's good side winning out against the Dread Moon? We also have what appears to be tokens for each member of the Cadre of the Raven's Veil, and all except for one here are wearing a mask, which is kind of interesting. There's also a 5 here, don't know what that's meant to be. Couple trapdoors it looks like, that same sort of courtyard looking thing with stairs here, almost looking like a pedestal, which might be where one of the statues will lie, or possibly both of them. There's a couple card decks here. There's one for Alchemy, Dread Spells, Mercenaries, which is the Cadre of the Raven's Veil, and the Knight, of course. And there is an image of some of the cards. The Alchemy cards shows Heroic Brew here, where you can craft this made out of spell ingredients. I'll get to that a bit later. Channel Dread we have seen before. We have here one of the members of the Cadre, who's just a mercenary. Striker is what they're called. And I know that some people were disappointed that they are just mercenaries, but with there being 58 cards in here, there's still a chance that they have some kind of special ability with them. Going down, we can see the Evil Elf stats, and that one right there is just an Elven Archer. Then looking at the right side, we have Raven's Talon, which would be an artifact. The eyes of the Raven glitter dangerously as you wield the blade. When using this dagger, roll 2 attack dice. On your turn, you may reroll any 1 attack die that lands on a black shield. While you might be way past daggers at this stage in the game, having that artifact may allow your dagger to be a little bit more useful than it was before. Though when I DM'd the trial with my group, the wizard was dangerous with that dagger, murdering orcs left and right. Caltrops. Use any time on your turn, no action required. Place a Caltrops tile on any one square you move through. If a creature moves onto a Caltrops tile, they roll the combat die. If it lands on a white shield, they may continue their movement. On any other roll result, their movement ends. Remove the tile from the board if a creature ends their own turn on it. Once used, the Caltrops are lost. The shield block for the Knight we have seen before, and Mysterious Flower. You uncover a rare and lovely elven plant you know to be edible. Consume it any time to restore 1 lost body point. Do not return this card to the deck until the end of the quest. Use as a reagent to craft 1 potion of dexterity, or 1 potion of defense. Now, these alchemy ingredients are very interesting, and I like that they've gone for a similar approach as games like Skyrim, where you can eat the ingredients on their own for a small benefit, or you can take the effort to combine them into a potion, which would definitely be more effective. So with them including alchemy itself instead of just alchemical experimentations in this quest pack, I'm thinking my theory of there being an alchemist hero is wrong, but that's okay. We're still getting some interesting content in this expansion. I nearly forgot, this is the image where we get a different view of that Dread Wraith. The thing that I'm seeing is kind of this puff of smoke here with all the souls in it, and kind of the spiky crown, and that to me is what we're seeing right here. Unless there's some kind of demon face in there. I guess we'll see once people get this game in about a month. People are disappointed that there's no Ragnar boss miniature, but there might be a reason for that built into the story. I do agree with their disappointment though, considering that he's on the box art. You'd think that as a miniature he would at least make an appearance, though if he does appear in the expansion and is only represented by the Chaos Sorcerer, the people who have the Mythic tier could use the prisoner version of him to represent Ragnar, of course. I'm curious to see where that concept art of him shows up, or whether that was just for the box art itself as well. From what I've seen, overall it seems like Avalon Hill's doing a very good job with this expansion. And while I still have more content than I know what to do with my Mythic tier, I'm betting that Rise of the Dread Moon is going to be fun to play. Thanks for watching, and I'm sure there's going to be a lore video out before too long. Goodbye.